Welcome to Junkyard Haunts, where we turn trash into haunts. Today we're going to be making a Frankenstein book. So I received this large old book that is not written in a language that I can read. So I figured I would never use it. But the nice thing about it is I believe it's one of those like books used for kids. So there's a lot of like toy type paper toys or pop-ups inside. So it kind of makes the pages already look old and used. So I thought I would turn this into a sweet book. So I wanted mine to be a Frankenstein book, as in it will look like it's stitched together. And in order to stitch it together, we need to build up some skin, I guess, basically, and then actually weave some stitches through it. To do this, I'm using some paper towels and just building a little rivet and then taking some tape and taping it on. Now I wanted skin to like actually build up and slowly ramp up. So I just take a small piece of tape and actually tape it to the top of the paper towel and then to the book, stretching it pretty hard, and then adding more tape around that to harden out the ramp feature. And to me it made it look like it was going to actually come up out of this book. And then you do the same thing to the other side so that we have a gash or a dip inside the book. I think the more that we put in, the better it would look. And I'm even wrapping some around the edges of the book too. I had some nice responses about the music, so I thought I would go ahead again and just play a little bit of it while you can listen to the music and watch me continue to work on this. Again, let me know what you think of doing that, or if I should just try to make these videos shorter and not play the music like that and only keep it in the background. Don't forget to once again go check out his channel. Normally I use a base coat of black, but this time I'm actually going to make it white, because when we paint the skin it's going to be slightly transparent and we're going to see through it a little bit. So I just put a newspaper in to keep the pages from getting paint is all. Here's the process that will make it look like skin. We're actually going to texture this book. We only want a 1-ply of paper towel, so you actually take a sheet of paper towel and rip it thinwise to get that 1-ply. And then I soak the whole thing in Podge. And I just lay it across the whole book and push it down, trying to make sure that all the cracks and crevices are just completely covered by this texturing process. I've used this on the past on a potion that I can link here, but in that potion I tried to stretch it and make it as smooth as possible. This time I think making it wrinkled makes it look even better, so you don't want to be as smooth throughout this time. And then we do the same thing to the back, getting that 1-ply and putting it around the book. Now actually you see me, I wanted to make sure these crevices are getting sunk in and make sure that texture goes down in those cracks. So I actually just take a spoonful of a little bit more Mod Podge to help push that down, and just using the weight of the liquid just to even pressure it down so that it sticks to the bottom there for sure. And then I have flesh colored paint that I am just going ahead and paint it, because this is supposed to be like a skin, like stretched skin over the book. I actually watered down this paint a little bit so it'll be a little bit more see-through and transparent, trying to get that little skin colored look to it. And that's why we painted the white underneath, so that the white can actually show through a little bit. And then I'm just going through and adding some touch-ups, but this touch-up stuff is actually just the solid paint. It's not watered down at all, so it will actually turn out to be a little darker, which I like a lot. Now I'm going to actually stitch these scars together. This is just a trial. I didn't know the best way to actually do this. And so I was like, well, I'll just drill a hole through there and push the string through. And so I got some pliers or whatever thing you have. I realized this was not a good way to go, and I do not suggest doing it. It was actually the screwdriver itself was ripping up the edges. As you can see, I now have gashes in there that I'll have to go in and clean up. And it still made it super thin where I drilled that hole through, so I just had to tape over it anyway. So what turned out to be a lot easier and faster and less cleanup is to actually just cut a hole in our buildup of our paper towels, put the string through, and then tape it back closed so that the string can't actually fall out. Doing it this way also means that I could pull it tight as I was going, where before I had to keep pulling it and then go back through and pull it. So this is definitely the better and faster way to do it. You will have to do some touch up as well, but it's a lot less touch up than it was before. This time you'll want to just weave it back and forth, make your gash, put the string down, tape it up, and then weave it back over to the other side, back and forth until you get as far down as you can. At the end, all of these I actually just tie off a tiny little knot, and that keeps it from being able to slide through. Now I'm actually going through and doing a little bit of the cleanup, trying to rehide that tape that I had by putting more paper towel over it and more Podge to add that skin texture back in that we were trying to create. And those holes and gashes I made with the screwdriver itself, I'm going to go and cover that as well. I figured it would be nice if we went ahead and on our blank spaces, go ahead and just add more of this paper towel around, because then it looks like different layers of skin as well, so which I think adds a lot more detail. Especially on this back here where I have a big large spaces, because I didn't want to put as many gashes in on the back of the book where you don't see as much. So I actually just filled that in on this flat spaces a lot more. And then you have to obviously repaint that new paper towel spots. Again, once doing this, trying to use a slightly different color of my flesh paint to create different tones and textures throughout this paint. I'm going to try to put out videos every Monday, so make sure you subscribe so you can follow along and see these awesome creations. And while going through here, since I did have slightly different color of paint, I went ahead and just painted parts that seemed more plain as well. Always just trying to add more texture. So now it's time to fill in the gashes with blood or something that you think would look good. My blood is some red paint mixed poorly with black so that it creates a few different colors of red. And then I just go in very, very slowly and very carefully painting in all the little holes inside my scars. Trying my hardest not to touch any of the strings and only getting the actual inside of the scar. Alright, we made a Frankenstein pumpkin and a Frankenstein book. Leave a comment below. Tell me what Frankenstein thing I should make next. At the end of these, I like to go over what I could have done better. But I think just adding more wrinkles into the texturing that we did and adding different colors of skin tone would have made them look more sewn together from different parts. Don't forget to hit subscribe and share with all your friends. This is like the worst surgeon ever. You imagine? You even like tie the skin together. He's like, haha, sucker, I want you to scar.